What is up, everybody? Hello! Welcome back to the stream as we slowly fade out on the wonderful Chrono Cross OST original soundtrack. And gotta say, Chrono Cross is one of those games that I love and hate it at the same time. I hate it because it was billed and still is billed as a sequel to Chrono Trigger, and it clearly is not. It's a great RPG by itself, amazing music from the people who did work on Chrono Trigger. So it's a really good RPG, but just don't go into it thinking that it's a sequel to Chrono Trigger, because it's not. They literally stated in interviews that they put in like 2 or 3 references at the very end of the game just to tie it into the universe, because it makes no sense otherwise. Although the start of the game does kind of go with Radical Dreamers, which was the text adventure sequel to Chrono Trigger that came out in Japan. Radical Dreamers, you can actually download a fully English translated version of it and make yourself a map if you do, because it's very easy to get lost. But it's a lot of fun. It does take a little bit of that beginning part, but the rest of the game is just like has no connection with it whatsoever. And before we get started today, continuing playing Super Mario RPG. Let me bring this up, make sure it's working right. Oh, it's a little off-center. We'll see if that fixes here in a second. Gonna plug a YouTube channel, Wrestling with Gaming. This is by an awesome dude, goes by the name Yael. And he does amazing documentaries and little videos about all sorts of video games like Sega. The last one he did was about X-Band, which was like the first console version of online, like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and playing against people across the country, which was pretty awesome. I played it once with Killer Instinct with like a second input lag, which was brutal, but it was fun. He also does streaming too, a little bit later at night. Like we were up till 3 o'clock in the morning, but he played Oregon Trail last night, and that was a blast. He was the only person I've ever seen get all the way to the end. He beat the game, which he'd never done before. Like, he's never survived all the way. But he did that and also kept everybody alive, which is, I've never seen that happen in all 30 years of my life playing that game. But check out his YouTube channel sometime. He's got really great content. Alright, so here we go. Okay, perfect. It recentered. So I just did actually I did it yesterday. The Windows 10 update. The 1903 May update. Which is not bad. It you know, some good security measures put into it. Some things that were really needed. Some other quality of life changes here and there. The only problem I found with it so far is OBS. It just basically turned my microphone and speakers to default. So I just had to go and change them in the settings, which took all of 10 seconds, if not more. Or less, I should say. So yeah, so that was fun. That's what I was doing last night other than resting up. But we're continuing on with Mario RPG. We're at the sunken ship. Yeah. So this gets a little interesting. There's some puzzles here, some logic puzzles. We'll see how that all goes. And of course, if any audio adjustments need to be made, please do not be, don't be afraid to speak up and let me know. Alright, there's a page from the travel log. Let's look at it, since I don't remember it from 2 days ago. Managed to trap the giant squid in the treasure cellar. The treasure will sink to the Okay, let's try this again. The treasure will sink with the ship, but so it goes. Oh, dyslexia is interesting, I'll tell you that. I need to grab a cough drop real quick. So, yeah, so every once in a while my brain just says, hey, you know your languages you speak? We're gonna mess with that real fast. First language you ever learned, English? Yeah, we're gonna make it suddenly seem like you didn't learn it first. So like all of a sudden like words will just seem like different to me and nothing makes sense. I gotta stop and try it again. But it's not too bad. I actually have an uncle who has severe dyslexia, and he's like almost can't read because of it. Sounds like the Kraken got them. Alright, so does this take me straight out? Yeah, that just takes me right out. Which is fine. Lets me go through and just make sure I'm fully stocked up. Items... Okay. So we got a lot of mid mushrooms and maple syrup. And the awesome Kero Kero Cola. My only kind of complaint with this game is that you don't have enough inventory space. You just get 2 small pages. So, when you get Colas, though, those are... Oh, those are the best. They heal everybody. Okay, so we're good. Back to the ship. Usually whenever I see somebody new, like I haven't attacked before, I'm like, I want to deal with them first. Turn down my headset volume a little bit. Seems a little loud for me today. Okay. Kind of fun because I remember this game being like really easy all the way through, but it's actually not. It's like right around this part of the game it really starts hitting hard. So I was thinking at first, like, I remember not having to really level when I played this. But it's like, you do really kind of want to grind for occasionally. Pardon me. Now, the one game I really grind a lot in is actually Chrono Trigger, whenever I play that. I love that. That is my absolute favorite RPG of all time. So, but that game, like, when you first start off with Millennium Fair, like, and you fight, like, Gato the robot, who's not a cat, which is weird, but basically, like, I will grind like 2 or 3 levels out of that guy before I start the rest of the mission. Like, I'll get Marl with me, and then we'll go over and start grinding up a little bit. Makes the game a little slightly easier. Alright, double coin. Sure, we'll do it. I totally won't cheat. Nope, not cheating. Oh no! What happened? Okay, so right now what it's doing is it's actually loading Gradius 3 that I patched. So I'm not sure... Yeah, it just... Okay, that's weird. So it switched to Gradius 3. There it is. That was truly bizarre. Okay then, that's a weird glitch for RetroArch. I'll have to let them know about it when we get done streaming today. Hit the wrong button. See, in RetroArch you use A, like on a standard Xbox controller, to confirm everything, but in this game it's B on the controller confirm, so you go into one menu to the other, it gets a little confusing. Up his attack. Need to make some changes to the people here. Let's see. True form. Okay, so... Could he get... I didn't see if he had a special one for I'll need to take a look, but we need to have something that's going to stop against changing people out. Like removing fear attacks, mutant sleep, so we need wake-up pins. Let's head back in the town, see if we can find a better gear for Bowser real quick. Nope, wrong direction. Okay, so I thought I could buy from these guys. Maybe it's a different shop? Okay, it's over here. Okay, so where did I buy from last time? Because I had to buy the sailor outfit somewhere. Go, go, Gadget Google. Ah, okay, it's in the sea. That's where it was. It wasn't in this part, it was in the sea. No, I remember. Totally remember, totally did not use Google to look that up at all. Completely brain power. Yes, I know, you're amazed, I'm amazed, everybody's amazed. It's just how good I am. Okay, so there's nothing for Bowser at all. You gotta remember though, Morgan, you have to say that in super deadpan. Do you know where I can find some sailor shirts? What? I'm busy. Ask again another time, please. Okay. Speaking of that, I am super dismayed because I have never sold a single one of my Dreamcast games, and my copy of Shenmue is missing, and that is just like, it's literally upsetting me. So I'm just like, why is it not where it's at? So I have an idea where it might be, like a couple boxes, but unfortunately my back the way it is, I cannot move them right now. And currently it's like about $30 to buy a replacement, but since like I know I have that game, I played it probably about 3 years ago. Probably. It doesn't make any sense because I have like never ever sold my Dreamcast games whatsoever. And like all of a sudden it's just like missing. I'm like, where did it go? I think this is just telling me there's a page in the travel log. Door to cellar is locked with a password consisting of 6 letters. I have the HD version for PC. I want the original Dreamcast version, you know, like the original one I bought. Push comes to shove, I can just burn a copy, but you know, I really want to know where my game is. Now, last time I checked the local rip-off store I have, like in town for retro games, Technically, they're called the Exchange, but I mean, these people are ridiculous. I've talked about them before, how they think that they can sell a greatest hits reprint copy of Final Fantasy VII that's been used for over $100. But last time I saw, they did actually have a European or PAL version of Shenmue 2, which was released there but not in the States. So it's full in English, but they were trying to sell it for like $200, which I'm pretty sure it's still not that amount. So they are a literal joke. Gino, why are you missing everything, buddy? We're gonna have a pep talk here. Scrow Funk. Sounds like some kind of terrible STI. So let's check that out real quick here. Not the STI. eBay. Let's see. Shenmue 2, Dreamcast. Yeah, so I could buy it, let's see, Japanese version, $28. European, about $60 to $75. It's where it should be. So local stores trying to sell it for $200. And I also have Shenmue on Dreamcast, or Shenmue 2. Which is really funny because I remember when they announced that they were going to, like, they made the announcement that, yes, we're doing Shenmue 3. And they came out, like, saying we're gonna, like, as soon as they said that, the prices for Shenmue and Shenmue 2 jumped. For the original Xbox, Shenmue 2 was, like, a $10 game for many, many, many years. And then as soon as that E3 ended, it jumped to like $60 on average, which I was laughing because I still had my Xbox copy. They're okay for the product. They're basically, the Shenmue games are very much products of the time. Especially like the first game when it came out. I think it's Super Eye Patch Wolf. He did a video on Shenmue, and he basically hits the nail right on the head. He's like, when the game came out, all these things that we take for granted now in games, this launched the way for this. It literally was a trailblazing game. It was like one of the best looking games ever at that point, and it set a lot of standards that would go on to be refined by other genres and even the system, even the game itself. But it was pretty much like a leader in the way games were at the time. It hasn't really held up too well, but like I said, you just gotta remember, you gotta go through the lens of playing it like a game from 20 years ago. Yeah, the first one had issues. I mean, I will definitely say that for sure. I love Shenmue, but I'm not like I'm not like a fanboy. Like, I'm gonna defend it as it's the best game ever. You know, it's like it's got problems, but fortunately, the second game solved a lot of them. Like, for example, a 24-hour cycle in the first game was about 30 minutes, and if you missed something, you just had to stand around or find a way to waste time. And in Shenmue 2, there's like, hey, you're here, the store doesn't open up for 5 hours, do you want to skip time till then? You hit yes, the game fast forwards like 3 seconds or so, and then you're right where you need to be for the next thing to continue the story. Yeah, it's something that would work now, although seeing Shenmue 3, having backed it as well for PlayStation 4, and seeing the current footage of Shenmue 3, it looks like Yu Suzuki and team are stuck 20 years ago. It seems like they haven't gone forward. They haven't really improved it. So, I mean, it could be something... Basically, it's like, if you think about it, Red Dead Redemption 2 is pretty much like Shenmue on steroids, with how open everything is, and like you can go and rummage through drawers and everything. That was a new thing for Shenmue. Like, you could go to... go into any store or house or whatever and start rummaging through, like, look through books and all that crazy stuff. They actually programmed it in. But it just wasn't, like, actualized at the time. They didn't have the hardware to back it up and do everything. Also, at the time, it was the most expensive game to come out. I think they made Shenmue 1 for around, I think, close to $50 million. which is where you kind of laugh now because you have games like Grand Theft Auto 5. I can't remember how much that cost to make, but I remember it was quite a lot of money. Let's see. GTA 5 total cost to make. Yeah, it was about $265 million to make that game, but then they sold it like day one, like the first week they made like $600 million. So that worked out for them, but it used to be crazy. It's like now you have video games that are costing more than it makes, cost more than it takes to make a blockbuster movie. Not again. Well, I'm just waiting for my copy of Bloodstained to come in the mail because it's supposed to be shipped out pretty soon. I mean, it's like coming out with the 18th, 20th, something like that. Sleepy time! Yeah, let's up her health. She's pretty weak. I know, you're probably saying to yourself, it's just a pile of dusty old bones. Think again! Oh no! Forgot to heal Gino. And these guys take a lot of damage. Unless it's a gimmick, like where I need to... I'm betting it's probably a gimmick at this point, you just need to use a special. Yep. I was thinking, like, why are these guys taking forever to kill? Well, that's the gimmick. It's a page from Travelogue. Uncover the secret of 6 hints. Of course, since they're provided by different people, they'll be pretty tough to solve, maybe impossible. Is this a mission that would be impossible to do? Alright, one thing I'm very curious about. Gino Whirl. Timing, yes. Everyone's like, what is the timing for this? Because if you do land it, it's 9,999. If you look on YouTube, people are like, wow, it's cool, I managed to pull it off. Like, okay, but what's the timing for it? That's the big thing. Hit Y on the frame, the projectile leaves the screen. It hits the edge of the enemy. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, Gino Whirl is ridiculously devastating, but very hard to pull off. Yeah, it's... Shenmue, I admire for what they're trying to do, but it's like, they need to really innovate and get with the times. YouTuber I know, I'm not going to say his name here just for that, because, like, I like the guy, but I'm not, like, trying to, like, cause drama or anything like that, but, like, he went after, like, Yu Suzuki hard the other day. He was like, the guy's a liar and everything else. Dude, I got it first time, are you kidding me? but all because of, like, the Epic Store whole thing, like, PC got shifted to the Epic Store, and now they're supposedly rethinking it, which would be a wise thing. He was like, see, he's just a liar and everything else here, and the Shenmue games aren't that great, they suck, and I'm like, dude, you didn't back it, so you have no skin in the game, you're not going to buy it because you said you didn't like it anyway. You got no horse in this. It's like, just calm down. It's like, yeah, he's kind of hasn't done much ever since he left Sega, but, you know, this is something that a lot of people wanted to see coming through, and it is something different, you know, in the whole world of, like, everything has to be a Battle Royale shooter now. It is something that's standing out. So I did back the game the very night that they announced that the Kickstarter was live, and it instantly crashed from everybody hitting the site at once. It actually took down all of Kickstarter. When it came back up, I backed the PlayStation 4 copy. Well, to a point. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's always been... The entire thing of Shenmue 3 has been shady from the start, because it's Kickstarter, so that means that you're supposed to basically be, like... You're funded entirely by people. And then, like, but they're brought up by Sony to announce the start of the Kickstarter, which makes no sense. And then you find out that Sony's involved, so if you had the backing of Sony, why do you need to do a Kickstarter for money? You know, that's the kind of bizarre thing. So people are like, wait a minute, so if Sony's putting up the money for this, why are we dropping more money for you right now? And then they're like, well, we're trying to do it independently, but Sony will publish, and then they are still getting money from them. It's this whole big convoluted mess. Now you have Bloodstained that came out. They were literally up front with everything, because this was after the whole Shenmue debacle, Shenmue 3. And they're like, this is literally, like, we are still trying to get funding for this game. Yeah, I didn't pay attention, probably do it correctly this time. But they were all up front, they're like, yeah, it's like, we are trying to generate interest for this game. You're still going to get it here. We're going to make it no matter what. But we are trying to get more backing, just like from investors, so we can make the game even better. And they were up front, transparent with everything from start to finish. So, like, everybody backs it. You are getting it for this, with the exception, of course, the Wii U, which they apologize because it's a dead system, but they automatically got transferred to whatever platform they wanted. So when they said, like, sorry, we're not making the Wii U version anymore, but just let us know what version you want, you're getting that instead. And people were fine with that. But the whole Shenmue thing is, like, really, really troublesome. So even I will straight off admit that. It's like, it's not looking good. Bloodstained, however, that's where I need to do the specials. Bloodstained I'm actually really looking forward to. I played the demo. First the alpha demo, like the old E3 one from like 2 years ago, then the last one they put out, which is surprisingly long. And if you like Symphony of the Night, it's exactly what it is. It's like, you know exactly what you're getting into. So if you love Symphony of the Night, the you know, the Metroidvania style games, that's exactly what it is. Blammo! Okay, so you do keep getting experience points from this guy, so you can actually sit here and farm this if you wanted to. But I'm pretty sure that there is a star place in here. I think this is the location for it. Where you get the star, run through and do everything, and then basically jump back. I think this is it, I'm not sure. But you really want to level up, because this is, well, I think, if I remember correctly, you get done with this boss fight, then you go into like another boss fight. It's like almost like 3 in a row. It gets really crazy. Status. Gina's with the level up. Yay, once again. And I shall. It's like the game Mousetrap. Pardon me, I had that as a kid. Still have it. Never got it to work right. You know, you have to build this big elaborate thing, this whole like Rube Goldberg thing on the game board, and it never worked. It always like would fail halfway through, or the net might go through and stop halfway. It's like, oh come on. Sometimes we didn't even bother with it until like the end. We're like, yeah, you're here. It got you. We're done. Okay, well, good. It wasn't just like my incompetence or my family's incompetence, which is always a factor, but yeah, because I remember that thing never working right. I also had Crossfire, where you like shoot the marbles at the little targets. That game went forever, and that gun would jam constantly. It was like little pachinko balls, pretty much. It was loud, and it took forever, and your hand was gonna fall off. I'm sure I have carpal tunnel today because of it. Lightning orb! Sometimes the fireball would go wonky on Fireball Island too. Now I know why things are screwing up. Hold on a second. I had to turn off my latency earlier because, gosh, what was I doing? Oh, that's right. I was messing around with the Dreamcast on this, and I had to turn off latency because it will crash RetroArch if you try to do a CD game with run ahead, to basically reduce the latency. So yeah, so I had to turn it off. So things like, why is my timing off for most of those things? And here we go. That will help. I couldn't figure it out. Like, something doesn't quite feel right. Oh man, that is brutal. That did like nothing. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's like this one is a little bit weird. It's like the core, it's SNES 9X, which I never liked that emulator by itself. I always preferred ZSNES, even though it has timing issues with it. But I mean, like the input lag for ZSNES, like for SNES 9X, always drove me nuts. So the ability to use that core in here with the run ahead to get rid of all the lag, I'll work. You know, I'll take it. One cool thing about this game is you cannot die from poisoning. You can go down to 1, but if somebody does that, then you'll die, but poison itself won't kill you. Ooh, his attack goes way up. Okay, so we need to heal. Man, I really wish I still had that Mario RPG strategy guide. It was another one of those things that, unfortunately, like, I had a basement flood about 12 years ago when I was living in Michigan, and I lost a lot of good stuff in that, unfortunately. It's like, because we had like about a foot of water just came up instantly in the basement. And Super Mario RPG strategy guide I had was one of those casualties, unfortunately. So, as was my Game Gear and a couple other good stuff. I have no idea how much a Game Gear goes for these days, but it looks like the last time I looked them up, that basically people were having like selling theirs, but they had like a dead pixel on them on the screen, or they'd done some kind of modification. But I just remember that thing just ate batteries like nobody's business. It was 6 AA batteries, and they would run through them all in like 2.5, 3 hours. So a lot of times, like when my brother and I would play it, like we just basically have it plugged in. Either if we were in the car, we'd have it plugged into the car, or just even the power adapter at home. My parents quickly learned to invest in rechargeable batteries. Okay, so these are the 6 doors. Gotta fight this guy. I was hoping like he'd walk further so I didn't have to. Nope. Not today. I wonder if poison gas will kill these guys as well, like the dry bones, instantly. We'll find out. I also have RetroArch configured up for this cord to use the analog stick, left analog stick, for the D-pad as well. So I can either use the D-pad, which is kind of clicky on the Xbox One controller. I'm just using the thumbstick instead. It feels a little easier for me. So what I love about RetroArch is it finally got like stable, so it doesn't crash constantly. It's like it's actually pretty good. Nah, I don't care about the coins. As I go over here, get more coins. Stop! Supadaki! Fine, I'll double my coins. It's gonna be health. Yep. Hey, it's good to see you. Yes, it is. What's up? Alright. Let's save. I think we have these already. Yeah, so we already have all this stuff, but... Password has something to do with the C. Well, gee, thanks. That wonderful Super Nintendo reverb. Full effect here. So that makes me ask a question here, Morg. Which did you prefer better for the soundtrack, you know, for music overall? Which system? The Genesis or the Super Nintendo, if you had to pick one? For me, I would say like over the whole, because like the Genesis does have some good soundtracks, but for me, I would have to say Super Nintendo. Yeah, exactly. It was distinctive. It was like that Yamaha synth, the you know, the chip in there that they had in there, the 68000, or yeah, the Yamaha chip, which was distinct. But I mean, I like the Super Nintendo just because it had the sampling for it. You had the more audio channels, and it just, the music seemed better. It's like, looking back at it now, some of the games were really muffled for stuff, like for compression. I just think overall the Super Nintendo sounded a lot better. And then with the Genesis, it was also highly subjective to what model of the system you had, because there are some models that did music really well, and then there were some that was absolute garbage. And the Genesis that I had, that I still have, the Model 1 that has like the headphone on the front and the slider switch, the classic one. I have like one of the worst versions of that for sound that you can possibly get. It sounds terrible. And then it wasn't until like years later people kind of went through and compared all the chips and made assessments like, okay, this out of the classic ones, this is model, if you can find this model ending with this serial number here, these are really good units to get for sound. Same thing for the Model 2. My friend Patrick actually found that for me, because where he lives in Texas, they have like retro shops all over the place, so... Whereas for me, I would have to order it on eBay or the rip-off shop, which would charge like $70, $80 for it. He's able to get me like a Model 2 for like 25 bucks. And it sounds amazing. I was like, hey, that's a lot better. But the Genesis, basically, because they have the two sound chips in there, like the two processors, a lot of programmers just didn't take the time to do it right. They just didn't like really care, like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna have garbage music, I don't care about it, we're not taking the time to program it in. As much as I don't like Yuzo Koshiro because he's a straight up music thief, which is funny because I've proved that before and people are like, oh, I don't believe you. It's like, here's evidence. Nah, he's just sampling it here. Do you have something that will really prove it? I'm like, here is him stealing literally the Fox fanfare from 20th Century Fox. They're like, no, it's an homage. It's like, oh my god. It's like Yuzo Koshiro could murder a baby with a hammer, and people are like, well, I'm sure that baby did something to deserve it. But he took the time. I mean, I will give him credit that he was an amazing programmer for the music. I mean, he did figure out how to program everything just right, so his music sounded really good. Even if it was pretty much stolen or inspired by other things. If I didn't do the save state already, do it again. To the right. To the right answer. Alright, let's see. Attack. The R becomes for the I think it is. I before E except after C and other insane rules that are in the English language. Ooh. Guy, and I was like, does anyone know about like elbow nerve entrapment? It's like impingement. Yeah, it's not comfortable. Let's see. It's like, yeah, it's incredibly painful. Surgery is usually the way to fix it. Let's see. Let's look up some stuff real quick. Okay, because I remember like Mallow came in really handy for some reason here on the ship, and yeah, like there's one of these fights involves a lot of like dry bones, and that's where it was. Because I'm trying to think like where exactly is it really good to do? I think it's the third room. Let's put Mallow in before I forget. Which is usually something I don't say very often. Let's see. Pardon me. Equip. Weapons. Froggy stick. And the chomp. We don't need all that. Even though it's like you max out 999 coins, you can't go above it, but it's like just get them out of your inventory. Actually, save state. Okay, I already have it equipped, okay. So let's go up and try the third, because I think it was the third is where you have a bunch of dry bones that you can attack. It's like 5 of them or something like that. And Mallow has like a really low cost, his Thunder spell, so do that a couple times and grind up some quick levels. It's like, look at that, Mallow's actually doing decent damage for once. Jeez, that guy clobbers hard. Although, actually tonight I was thinking like a couple different things for stream. I was thinking like, well, let's give Mario RPG a rest for a stream. But then I'm like, well, no, it's easy to do. And I was thinking like to do Dreamcast stuff, and then I found out that my copy of Shenmue is missing, which I wasn't going to play on stream anyway, but I was like, I was like, fighting games, and like, my back still hurts, so that'd be a pain in the butt, so Super Mario RPG it is. Keep plugging through. Wow, that attack goes up quite a lot. Remember, she eventually gets like a frying pan as a weapon. This is like a 3D maze that you can't see. Okay, so hitting X to give up actually does show you where you're at, but that was just a pain in the butt. You know, there is one like with barrel counting, which is not too bad. It's one of the things I used to really excel at, and probably not so well right now being on fentanyl, is like 3D logistical like planning, like 3D space objects, like how many things are in, like how many barrels are in a stack, and it keeps changing things up. So like logic like that I was usually really good at. 3D spatial logic. Oh yeah, so if I remember correctly, this one's like you gotta stop the stop the spring there, and like a cannonball's gonna come out and try to bounce through the rest of them. It's gonna be off, but holy crap! I actually got it. I thought I was thinking like, it's not gonna be the right spacing. All right, it's found in the bed of the ocean. Is it possibly pearls? Oh, I see. He's flying wherever I'm pointing at. Okay, I was trying to think, like, what is the gimmick here? Oh, it's the first time I screwed that up. Oh well, can't get them all. Can't be awesome all the time, I guess. So I remember a while ago, and like, since, you know, subsequent times since, I used to say like I would never play an RPG on my stream, and here I am playing an RPG on my stream. And I'm thinking like, what other like RPGs have I played in the past that I really liked but haven't played in years? And like the answer is like almost all of them like Super Nintendo RPGs. Pardon me. Like the ones I was thinking of was Tenchi Muyo, like off of the anime. They actually had a pretty, I remember being a pretty good one for the Super Nintendo. It's been translated, of course, because it never came stateside. So Tenchi Muyo was one. There was actually a Sailor Moon RPG, because I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan, which is usually surprises the heck out of a lot of people when I tell them that I have like the full, complete collection of Sailor Moon for, you know, for all the English episodes and Japanese episodes. And they're like, what? It's like, yep. I just like the series. So I actually have the RPG for the Super Famicom, but I would have to get a translated version of it to play on stream, which it's not really that special of a game, to be honest. Okay, I just didn't know if there was anything special in here or not. Nope, screwed it up. Don't really need to do it, but keep doing some fights. So like I said, I could have sworn there was one where there's like 4 or 5 dry bones that you can just like keep doing over and over to level up. But of course, I'm trying to remember something from like 20 plus years ago, 23 years ago since I last played this like completely all the way through. Got a mushroom! Yay! Well, I guess I was wrong, jeez. My memory is incorrect. That's a bummer. Not special... Status! Jeez. Okay. Yeah, Bowser's at 1 more level up to go. Maybe this is the fight I was thinking of, like, just keep grinding this over and over. HP it is! Do one more fight with him, and then we're keep going. Alright. Let's sell some of those pure waters. I don't really need to. I mean, I have maxed out, you know, money for everything, but yes, I know it's pearls. I remember. Yeah, if you can't figure it out, just spend some time, waste it just like, you know, constantly guessing at it. You seem kind of slow, so yeah. So let's put Bowser back in the group. We're gonna take off the True Form pin. Yes, Larsep, the only one that ever had problem with, like, that genuinely made me freak, like, oh my god, what is it, was Chrono Trigger. And you go back, like, with Luca, like, to where her mom got crippled, like, she got caught in a machine, her legs got mangled, so she never walked again. So it was like, input the code, I'm like, I don't know what the code is, I was, like, trying to figure it out, and then, like, I had to reload. Yeah, I reloaded the save, and you have to go through that whole conversation again. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, it was like, what is the code? And then eventually I figured out it was like Lara, L-A-R-A, her name. And I was like, okay, so then, fortunately it wasn't like the first time that that game had given you controls to input, like, passwords as, like, button presses instead. So I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that, like, the first two times was like, especially the first one, like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Which is, like, legitimately, like, really amazing, because it gives you that panic that she was feeling at that point in time as that young child, like, I have to save my mom, what do I do, that helplessness, which was like I said, it's why Chrono Trigger is my favorite RPG of all time. I think Fearless is the way to go for this. Yeah, people say, like, they have, like, video game crushes, like, I guess, like, maybe the one you can think of, like, where I kind of like, wow, that's, like, hot, would be, like, it wasn't, like, a crush, like, I'm in love with this character. It'd be, like, the Dark Queen from Battletoads, which, oh, if you haven't seen what they did to her for the new Battletoads, well, first off, they're making a new Battletoads game, okay? And, it looks god-awful. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. But, the Dark Queen, the original outfit, was like, whoa! And the new one, she is covered head to toe. It's like, oh, no. It's like, some people get upset when you say social justice warriors, but they have invaded a lot of things, and they're behind a lot of changes for stuff like that, especially why Sony's official stance now, because they're headquartered not in Japan, but in the United States, and they're actually going through and censoring games, which is weird because Nintendo is now saying, hey, we have the uncensored version on the Switch, which is a complete and total opposite for, like, even for, like, the past couple of years ago with Nintendo. They used to censor everything, even though we have the ESRB, and now they're switching with Sony, which is bizarre. He doesn't have any pins. Okay, I was looking to see if he had another, like, a Fearless pin. But yeah, if you have not seen what the new Battletoads game looks like, it is just... it is hot garbage. It is getting downvoted into oblivion right now. So it's 5.9 thousand likes, 13,000 dislikes. And the only place where they show the Dark Queen is for literally 2 frames at 59 seconds. So if you pause the video, if you actually hit like the period key on your keyboard, that goes forward 1 frame, comma goes back 1 frame. So if you pause it like 59 seconds, you can hit like period 1 or 2 times and you'll see her flash on the screen real fast. But I mean, that game just... I don't know who approved that. It just... people are not happy. Oh, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Alright, we'll just do save state just for fun. So I do a save state. So when you forget to heal yourself before a big battle, you can jump back and do that real quick. So there is a... yeah, honey, we'll just do that. It's close enough. That's why I love emulation. Okay. Everyone walk forward! Ah, jeez. It's like these irregular differences are throwing off my timing. Like, the top one, it's not too bad, but, like, from what I figured and what I read online, of course, is like, it says, like, when the first disc starts to leave the screen, it says, like, when it leaves the screen, but, of course, they're probably playing on a monitor with lag or something. But I found, like, just as it's leaving the screen, like, when it's halfway through off the screen, hit Y again, that seems to do the maxed it out. But when you get like shorter distances, I'm not sure if it's based on time or if it's just position from anywhere to make that work, to get that timing for it. The rune! Start it up! I think he just keeps resummoning more tentacles. I think? I mean, I'm not sure, so... Oh no! Bring back Geno. I was about to like say like let's do his attack up spell on Mario. So I know that can make him like his super fire orb even stronger. Okay. Load state. I thought I had the right stuff on. Fearless pen. Okay, so I need... Crap, I don't want to go all the way back out. But fearless pins are... What it's supposed to be? It prevents fear attacks, but I mean... You saw him grab Geno, and then he starts shaking in fear, so... What's the problem? Why is it not working? Strange indeed. Okay. Okay. Got it. If I remember correctly, I think this will actually stack, like you can do it again on multiple times on a character. I think? Don't quote me on that. Which was actually one of my favorite quotes I used to say, like, don't you dare quote me, Anonymous. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it does stack. So I was doing 84 attack, now I'm doing, like, ridiculous amounts. But I don't know how long it lasts, though. Maybe that was just a critical? I don't know. Okay, maybe it's just that extra attack right there. Like the next ensuing attack does even more. I don't know. I really need to look this stuff up. Yeah, I think you may have asked me that last time, like, more like, it was either you or somebody else, probably Nimix. I think it was that asked me, like, why don't I have, like, bots or anything like that, like YKB? It's just, like, too much work for me to figure out. It's like, eh. More things to worry about when I try to stream instead of just firing up the emulator or plugging my system and going. Let's see, item. Keep Geno alive, because he's my booster. Okay. Venom Drool. Let's just land eventually. There it is. Come on, Gino. Need you to snap out of it, buddy. Oh, well, hey, I guess I got it. I didn't see the flash on the screen or hear it, so neat. Now get some soy sauce. Okay, so we destroyed the body, but apparently it has its own sentient tentacles. Why not? That was not worth it. Okay, super jump. This should finish it off now. Alright, cool. 100 coins that I can do nothing with. I'm very full of money. Okay. Health it is. Okay, cool. So everything got refilled out of that fight. That's why I love level ups, because they just get everybody fully restored. Items. If he's got some Able juice, I guess I'll buy some. Okay. Continuing onward, trying to make progress. Having not made much progress in this hour and a half I've been playing, or hour 20 minutes more accurately. Okay. Okay, so I think this was the fight that you can keep doing over and over with Mallow. Maybe? We'll see. If I leave the room and come back, and they come back here again, then I know for sure. Yeah, so going to do is switch. Pardon me. So I just want to get to like level 14. So 65, not too far off. I find it kind of funny, like, I will grind in an RPG, as long as it's not too excessive, but then, like, I won't play MMOs. MMORPGs, because they're just way too grindy. Like, way far back in the day, I had a friend of mine, a gal pal. Her and her boyfriend were spending, like, one second, I gotta move the microphone, like about $130 a month in MMORPG subscriptions. Because a lot of them were not free to play back then. And they're like, they kept talking up, gosh, what was it? I'm trying to remember the name of this one. Let's see. Yeah, Legacy 2, I think it is. Let's see. No, not Legacy. I'm trying to remember. Lineage. Lineage 2, that's what it was. And they were like talking up to me like how much of a great game it is and everything, and like, you know, like, hey, buy the game and play with us and we'll help you out, you know, because they had maxed out all their stats and stuff. Because they were addicts pretty much, you know, for MMORPGs. And it was a South Korean game, and holy crap, that was the grindiest game I ever played. I gave up on it very quickly. So you start off level 1, like you do almost every single game, really. And your first mission, just so you can leave the beginning world, is kill 3,000 rats. They were like in this field. And they'd only spawn 2 or 3 at a time. You had to kill 3,000 of them before you could keep going. I was like, nope, I'm out. I don't care. It's like, they're like, I'm like, is everything like that? They're like, yeah, everything's like that. I'm like, nope, I'm done. It's like the game almost cost me like $15, so it wasn't too big of a loss, but I'm like, not gonna do it. This is stupid. Yeah, it sounds like a parody, but it's a legitimate game. It's still going, I think, to this day. But it is the grindiest one I have ever heard of. I mean, WoW could get a little grindy. I played this a little bit of it. But everything is pretty much based off that formula, but that wasn't too bad. I mean, you still have quests like go kill 100 or something like that, but they weren't 3,000 of something that would spawn. And when they spawned, like, it wasn't immediate, like, you killed one, another one would pop up. You would have to wait, like, 2 minutes for this thing to, like, to respawn back. And it wasn't just for your individual world. It wasn't like, I'm trying to think of another one that did this, like, like the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that MMO. I was in their beta test for it, alpha and beta test. And so you'd see the other players, but all your enemies were yours only. Like, you could only see them and interact with them. So you have to worry about somebody poaching your stuff. I don't know if they made it like that in the final build that released out to the public. But in Lineage 2, everybody had the same targets. So you had to fight to get, like, you know, you and like about 4 other people, 5 other, however many people were on that server just starting off for the same targets to get up to 3,000 of them in order to move on the game. I was like, nope. It's like, homie, ain't playing that. Instanced. Yeah, I was like, that's what I was like, it's not for me. Some people like that, but it's like, not my cup of tea. You know what would speed this up, and I'm not going to do it because it would require me to leave the ship and then fight my way all back down here again. Is that there is, like, for $500, I remember seeing an item back in town that doubles your experience points. I might do it. I think I can get it after I get done with this whole ship, so let's just see where I'm at for status. 9, 20, 13. Okay, we're almost, like, 2 more times. I'll keep going forward, because I know watching somebody grind on stream, or even RPGs in general, I think are kind of boring to watch, even though this one's... I'm engaged with it, I think it's fun, because I'm actually in control. Speedruns of this are entertaining to watch. I remember seeing this run at GDQ about 5 years ago, but it's like, just to watch somebody grind is just boring as hell. Which is like kind of why, like, if I ever played Chrono Trigger on stream, I don't think, actually, to stop and think about it, I don't think I would play Chrono Trigger on stream. Just because it's such an individual experience for people to play it. And, like, it's something, like, I think, like, you shouldn't really watch other people do it. I mean, you can watch it yourself, but it's something you should play yourself. And it's like, I don't want to be, like, basically taking that experience for somebody, especially if they've never played it themselves. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I haven't really found an engaging MMORPG to this date. It's actually one of the things, like, one of the reasons why I didn't like Final Fantasy XII for the PlayStation was it was basically MMORPG that was offline. It was like everything from, like, the combat system to management, it was all MMO. I was like, I really, really don't like this. But yeah, Chrono Trigger is... I'd have to... Like I said, T-Walls also, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. But yeah, it's amazing to play yourself. If you've not played Chrono Trigger, don't play the Steam version. Don't play the iPhone version. Get yourself a ROM of the Super Nintendo version. Set up an emulator. It's not hard. If you need help, I will walk you through it. But just play the game yourself. Do not watch other people stream it. Just play it yourself. It is so much better that way. It really is an experience that you can't replicate any other way. And that's one of the reasons why, like, I recommend to never ever stream Undertale. Because that is, like, super toxic community to begin with. Not everybody is, but the majority of the people are, because it's the really is the you're not playing how I played it, therefore you suck type mentality. It's like that's really problematic, especially with a game like with Undertale, where you have the ability to do so many different things different ways. Everybody can play it differently. It's actually designed for that. And that is, like, one where people will go through and do it. So I remember YKB was considering streaming Undertale, and I messaged her. I'm like, you can do that, but odds are very likely that I will turn off chat. it's like I'm not gonna deal with it. She wanted to play blind. I'm like, chat's gonna be open. People are gonna be screaming stuff no matter what. Like, I can time people out. I can banhammer if necessary. But it's going to be a constant struggle. It's like, it might just be easier just to, like, turn off chat if you do it, but then you lose that connectivity with the audience. You know, so it's like, I'm just telling you for, you know, for your own sanity, this could be a problem. Okay, I have a feeling I'm supposed to be doing something here. No, I'm not doing the right thing. Well, I wish I had the ability to do that. I do. My ISP might get upset with me. Twitch might get upset with me. But just general tool set, I don't really have that ability. Alright. What can I do here? Nothing. Yeah, backseat gaming is like, I'm guilty of this too. I've done that before as well. I was kind of doing it last night, but the guy was actually kind of asking for it. He wasn't like asking for it like he was being a jerk, like couldn't figure out what to do, like I don't know what to do. But it was like Yael is his guy's name. He does the YouTube channel Wrestling with Gaming. If you have never seen his videos before, stop by his channel sometime, bookmark it. He does great documentaries, like little videos on it. The last video was about X-Band. But last night, he was playing Oregon Trail, which is a lot of fun. So he was asking us, like, what should we do here? Like, should we go hunting? Or, you know, should we ford the river? Or stuff like that. So it was interactive, and that's fine for that way. But if you're just showing up somebody's chat and just screaming at them, play the game that I play it, the way I play it, that's not going to work. See, I get it when I don't need it. You know, it doesn't matter. I can get the Geno World. It's like, oh, it's a nobody. Sure, 9,999 against a boss where it'd be useful. Nope. But yeah, it's like that's why I usually ask, like, unless the person, like, unless the streamer is asking for like for help, like I'm stuck with what I need to do here, or does anyone have a suggestion? It's like if they're soliciting it like that, then that's fine. But if this person is kind of stuck, I usually let them figure it out. And if they're really stuck, I'll ask them ahead of time, like, hey, do you want me to give you a hint or tell you where to go for whatever thing? And sometimes they'll say yes, or sometimes they'll say, no, I want to figure it out, and that's fine, I respect that. But like I said, just don't go and do, like, you know, people's chats and start yelling, like, do it, play it the way I do. I actually mentioned Chrono Cross at the start because I used Chrono Cross's, you know, soundtrack for my pre-stream. And I have a love-hate, like I both love and hate Chrono Cross. I think it is a great RPG, the way it is. The music is fantastic, the art's good, it's got a unique battle system to it that is really a lot of fun. And you're out to strategize out. But what I hate about it is that it is a Chrono Trigger sequel when it really isn't. There's parts of it, like later on, when you're storming Lynx's castle, that was taken from Radical Dreamers, which was the text-based pseudo-sequel to Chrono Trigger that came on the Famicom, which has been fully translated to English now. It basically describes what happens to Magus when he goes looking for his sister. But it's just like, other than that, like the developers literally admitted to, yeah, we just put in like 2 or 3 references to Chrono Trigger at the last second to make it tie into that world, because it has nothing to do with Chrono Trigger at all. And they just basically decided to slap it on in there at the last second and say, hey, yeah, it's a sequel. It's like, it's not. But if you go into playing the game and without that expectation that it's a sequel to Chrono Trigger, it's a great game. But if you keep waiting for things to pop up to indicate it, that's why you're gonna have a problem with it. Yeah, so if you never got into Chrono Trigger, then that's understandable, but the big marketing for it back when it came out was, this is the sequel to Chrono Trigger. It's like, it really isn't. And it's just frustrating as hell because because you love Chrono Trigger so much, and this is a sequel, and it has like nothing to do with it whatsoever. Until like halfway through the game, you see one little brief cutscene where they show like kids' drawings of Chrono and Luca, like in an orphanage that's on fire. And that's like the one instance there, and then they bring it up at the very end about how supposedly everything ties together, and it still doesn't make sense. And that to me is annoying. Like, if they had just left that part out instead of trying to arbitrarily tie it to an existing franchise, it would have been great. I thought it was amazing. It's like, other than that, it's a great game, but just don't go into it expecting it to be a sequel. So if you play Chrono Trigger, T. Wallace, you know, like, if you do play Chrono Trigger, just remember it's not a prequel to Chrono Cross, and you'll be fine. Okay, where I'm at on status. Quite a lot. Bowser's about to go up. Hit the right buttons. There we go. Oh yeah. There's actually a really good dish. What is it? Ayo e oyo. I probably said it completely wrong because I always get those two mixed up there with the dyslexia. But it's like you cook spaghetti, and while that's cooking, you have a pan with olive oil and super thinly sliced garlic. If you can get your hands on a real garlic clove and like a truffle slicer or something like that, they just make super small slices if you can. If you can't, just chop up as small as you can. Slowly cook that in the olive oil. Try not to burn it. I mean, cooking like super low heat. Put in some crushed red pepper, salt, pepper into there at the last second. And when your spaghetti's done, just take it out, put it immediately into that olive oil mixture with the garlic and everything. Turn off the heat. A little bit of parsley, pepper, and it's just like mind-blowing. It's very... If you love garlic, like that garlic Italian type flavor, that's a good one too. You can also add lemon to it at the end. It's kind of like a different version of that dish I'm mentioning right now. You made it, except for instead of using olive oil, you just used, some butter instead, but just add some garlic olive oil to it. You can make it as well. It's very, very quick and easy to do. As long as it takes to make, to boil the pasta is how long as it takes just to make the entire dish. It's like 10 minutes or less. Not counting in the time it takes for the water to boil, of course. I made that dish for a date one time, and the date ended very well. With us both having extremely bad garlic breath. It was tasty, though. She loved it. We were girls dating. We were friends at first, and then became more. And we were on a date. Like, it was actually like one of our first dates we went out together on. I was thinking, like, okay, we went to like an Italian place. I'm like, alright, just don't order anything really garlicky or anything like that there, and I'll be fine, whatever. And she's like, you want to order pizza? I'm like, sure, why not? Because they actually had like artisanal, like Italian style, actual Italian style pizza, not the American stuff. They had that too, but you could get like real Italian style pizza. I'm like, sure, let's do that. And she orders like the basil, like the basil pesto and garlic pizza. I'm like, well, all right, she ordered it, not me. We're gonna, so much for my no garlic plan. She's got the garlic breath too. We're all good, except for then we had like the basil just stuck in our teeth. So it's like we had to excuse ourselves like one after the other to go to the bathroom, like floss our teeth and brush them up as best we could, and yeah, it was fun. It's one of those crazy little memories I have in my life from happier times. Oh man, this entire... Hey, run away. Oh, Gino, you suck. Ooh, I have Ultra Jump. I forgot about this. Oh yeah. That was the thing while I was living in Tucson, because I know you're up near the Phoenix area. But I was down in Tucson, it's like, you had to... It was hard to get cold water. Pardon me. So it's like... Water comes out almost like warm to hot anyway. Which is weird, because like normally you want to heat up your water, or, like turn on the hot wire to get it hot, and it's like in Arizona you want to turn the cold to hopefully get it cold. It's like, hopefully that works, but... Yeah, it was a little bit of adjustment. So yeah, water would boil a lot faster just because it naturally came out hotter to start with. You had a little leg up. Ah, crap. Okay, so I was thinking like, well, just bypass these fights here and get instantly knocked off. Like an idiot. Again, twice. Okay. Can I go for a 3? 3 times. Is that possible? Most likely. Status. By the way, T-Wallace, are you adjusting to life out there in the desert, becoming a desert rat slowly but surely? Yeah, 111 is brutal. Which a lot of people are like, wow, that's incredibly hot, but when you take out all the humidity, because you're in like 10% humidity or less, it's not too bad. You surprisingly get used to it pretty quickly. Because I hate hot weather, and I'd be outside in like 100, 105 degrees. I was like, it's not too bad. It's just like, when you don't have that humidity behind it, it's really not too bad for you. It's like when I was living in, you know, people are like, well, it's a dry heat. I'm like, yeah, but so is your oven. I don't advocate living inside there either, but... Because I remember when I was out there in Tucson, the electric was horrendous, like, for the cost. It was very expensive because they knew that people are going to use air conditioning. It's hot as hell. So I remember one time I had, like, 1 month I kept my AC at, like, 80 degrees. Which most homes out there where you're at is like 75, most people are comfortable at. I kept mine at 80. Only ran it when I was home, like, and I'd set the thermostat for like 90 when I wasn't there, so during the day it wouldn't get like ridiculously hot inside. And my electric bill was like $200 at the end of the month. I was like, holy crap. And this was like a 1-bedroom apartment I was in. So hopefully there's other competition out there, but there was like only one electric provider in Tucson, and you got hosed by it every single time. So after paying ridiculous stuff like that and becoming homeless for a while in Arizona, fortunately it was the winter time, so it was only like 70 degrees outside. I'm like, that's not too bad. Managed to get back on my feet. I was working for AOL, and I had like this huge bonuses and everything else come like right in. They're like, here you go. It's like, so you're working for us, as soon as you get through training in 3 weeks, you have all these bonuses and everything. We're going to give you like $4,000 just for starting with the company. I was like, okay. So there's an apartment complex that they had where all utilities were included in the rent. And this was, mind you, we're talking like 15 years ago almost. Yeah, it was about 15 years ago. And I got a 2-bedroom apartment. It was pretty decent. I want to say probably about like 1,000 square feet. Probably not 1,000. I don't know how much it was, but it was decent sized rooms, living room. It was really great. 2-bedroom, just by myself. $580 a month were all utilities. And it was like, yes, it was great. So I enjoyed that quite a lot. So my friends would come over, and they would just like, they'd come over in their winter jackets because I would freeze them out because I'd have like the AC going non-stop to like 68 degrees. So I'm sitting there all comfortable and they're freezing to death. They're like, can we please turn on the heat? No. It's like, don't you dare touch it. But then after I left Arizona, went up to Michigan, it was another company like bought out the housing complex, like the apartment complex I was in. And they realized, hey, we can make a lot more. So then they went from like $580 a month for the 2 bedrooms up to about $1,000. And they've since gone higher, and people are moving out like crazy still. So come back here, rat. 1,000 or the 1 bedroom? That's the question. Yeah, so my first apartment I had was like, literally, it was like a 1 bedroom, very small. I didn't care because I was used to, you know, living in Japan at the time, so it was like, I'm used to living in a closet, so this is huge. So I'm like, okay, cool. And it wasn't the best apartment. I had like crappy neighbors and everything else. It just didn't work out. And then, like I said, you know, the whole homeless situation came about there with my health declining and, you know, the job just being crap and all these other things that happened. This perfect storm that just took me out, like, off my feet for almost 2.5 months. So I was paying like $420 just for them, and they included water, but I still had to pay electricity. And that really wasn't worth it. And then, like I said, I got the AOL, which was just chucking money at its employees at the time. It was, yeah, that's why I decided, hey, I'm gonna go for a 2-bedroom so I can just have a pure off game room, which is what I did, which is what I really love. And then later on, my friend got divorced, so he came to live with me for a while, so it was like, hey, I got a spare bedroom, sure, I'll just move into my game room and you can have the other room. But, yeah, that was a lot of, I mean, that still blows my mind how much I was able to get that 2-bedroom, all utilities for just under $600, which is, like, unheard of pretty much these days. I mean, I'm going to take a random guess here. I think it's on the right. I'm psychic. I can see the future. Okay, I think everybody's full. Yeah, it restores. Well, just Bowser's full, but let's see. Shrooms. Yep, and then Mapale. Let's go on and get to the boss. Let's get into a fight is what I meant to say. Oh god. It's like now this is like really bogging me down. I'm like, I just want to get past this part. Oh god. I will say, like, the worst place I ever paid for rent was when my girlfriend and I were living in Boston. That was... oh god, it was terrible. We were getting a discount, too. Because my girlfriend's sister's husband, so it was her brother-in-law, owned the property. And it was like, it was an illegal apartment anyway. It wasn't registered as an apartment complex, you know, apartment building, but there was like 4 apartments that the guy just basically like walled off and said, this is an apartment now, and this one's an apartment. We were paying like $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom, and it was ridiculously small, not insulated well. It was just crap, and like I said, we were getting a discount because he was charging everybody else there $2,000. I was like, and we were in like what's called the poor section of Boston, and there was a Lamborghini dealership at the end of the street. But he was a multi-millionaire because he made a lot of his money just flipping houses. And so he'd buy a property. This is before like the whole, you know, the economy went to crap for a couple of years. So a 1-bedroom, like a house, not a apartment, 1-bedroom house in Boston was usually selling for $1.3 to $1.4 million. Just for a 1-bedroom house. It's ridiculous. I don't know how people live out there. It's way too expensive. It's like I went to... a grocery store. I know that there it is. Went to a grocery store, and DiGiorno's pizza is like what you can get in Michigan for like for $6 at the supermarket for like $12. It was almost cheaper to buy like Pizza Hut than to get like a crappy DiGiorno's frozen pizza from the supermarket. It's like everything just costs so much money. So it's like, we gotta get out of this state. It's like, we can't stay here anymore. It's like, we're just hemorrhaging money. Pardon me. I had applied to work for Target. They wanted me to be a assistant manager because I had management background. So they're like, hey, we want you to be You know, we want you to be an assistant supervisor. We're gonna start you off at like $45,000 a year, but you have to do all this like training and everything else, the management program. You get paid like minimum wage during that time. Then after this, your contract states you're getting, as soon as you get the, you know, get done with the mandatory training and everything we have to do for the company, then you get your salary. I'm like, okay. And it's just like we were hemorrhaging cash. My girlfriend was working at Starbucks. She hated it. It was another minimum wage, and she had a kid. Still has a kid, I should say. God, I can't run away. Okay. But it's just like we couldn't survive living there. So she had family in New Hampshire. Her ex-husband was actually living in a condo unit, which is kind of funny because we actually ended up living right underneath him. Would you think would be awesome if the guy was like super wiener? He still is. So it made like childcare really easy. So like he'd have his son for a couple days, and he'd just bring him downstairs, and we'd have him for a couple days, and you know, I got along with him. It wasn't like we weren't at each other's throat, like, how dare you type deal, because, you know, her and my relationship, he knew us from, like, he knew that we were friends for a long, long time, and I was not the reason behind their marriage breaking up, he was. So it's like, there wasn't, like, animosity type deal. It wasn't like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. He's just, like, didn't care. He's like, oh, hey, what's up? But, so we ended up living up there in a small place called Thornton, which is, like, right next to a ski resort. So we're in the middle of the woods of nowhere. It's peaceful, it's quiet. It was nice. It was, like, the rent was really cheap. We were, again, in another one bedroom. The condo upstairs where he was living was like 3-bedroom type deal, but he was only paying like $20 more. And we didn't care. I mean, we're just like, we're dumb and in love. We're like, sure, whatever. And we're only paying like $500 a month for it. We're like, sweet. It's like, we'll do that. Fortunately, it was all electricity, because there's a lot of heating oil up there, and that gets really expensive in New Hampshire. So it's like, so basically when all our bills were paid, we were only paying like $650 a month or so. I think with everything for bills, I think it was probably closer to about $600. It wasn't bad, and that wasn't per person. It was like the two of us, so we split it, so it was like $300. So I was like, hey, this is great. But yeah, the Great Value brand pizzas, they're not bad. Actually, I kind of like them. I'm not a fan of DiGiorno's or anything like that. I don't think they're great pizzas, but or they have like those big giant like Walmart pizzas for like $10. I get one of those, or I used to get one of those, and it was like I would just eat that, and like I'd cook it. I can only eat one slice because of my weight loss surgery, and I'd freeze the rest. So I'd have like 2 or 3 slices in the fridge, and the rest of it got frozen for like emergency food pizza. I was like, well, I don't feel like cooking tonight, I hurt too much, or, you know, I'm low on chicken or whatever, let's just have pizza, take one out, throw it in the microwave, bam, entire dinner's done. So, yeah, the Walmart stuff's not bad. I do like it. I just add a little extra to it, of course, because I need to do that. So I just add a little extra Italian seasoning on top of it, and, oh yeah, it's great. I highly recommend them. Yeah, I liked the Totino's pizzas when I was a teenager, but now as an adult, I'm just like, I'm not really a fan of it. I can eat them, but I'm not like, yeah, Totino's! And I'm like, but now I'm just like, Tombstone I ate for a while, because when I first moved out to Arizona, the grocery store was having like $1 for each Tombstone pizza, so I'm like, well, I have $30, so I bought like 20 pizzas, jammed them all into my freezer. Ate those for a while, gained like 15 pounds, and then it was like, you know, then I got more on my feet again, of course, you know, getting established, and had to lose all that weight again. Let's go for... always the magic, make them stronger. Okay, so this is where I would do some grinding. And that's kind of funny, like crispy crust, like back when I was fatter than I am now, I mean, I make no illusions that I'm still fat. I'm like around 280 pounds because I can't exercise anymore, which is really bugging me because I leveled out with all my weight loss surgery and everything at 250. I looked really good, and I was fine with it. Like, I didn't, you know, like, I was thinking the original goal, I wanted to get closer to, like, 215. I was like, 240, like, 249, 250, I was happy with. I was like, yeah, this works really well. And then, of course, my back injuries and psoriatic arthritis possibilities, everything is just, and my disc slipping again. I can't exercise at all again, so... So it's like, it's just been like a pain in the butt, but getting back to it here, the reason why I brought that up was that when I was like super fat and I would literally eat like a large pizza for just a meal by myself and a 2-liter of soda, I would like, I used to think that crispy, like, thin crust was the dumbest thing in the world. I'm like, why would you buy this? It's not going to fill you up. You got to eat a whole lot more, because I would gorge like crazy amount here. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And then I had weight loss surgery, and thin crispy crust is the best thing ever. It's like, wow, it's great. It's just right for me. I can have 2 slices of it. It's weighed out to the same amount. It's not filling me up with too much bread. It's like your perspective changes on things when you go through crazy stuff in your life. Because I used to hate crispy crust, thin crust pizzas. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Give me that like deep dish pizza and the thick crust and everything. And now I'm like, it's too much. It's like what I've been known to do is like make just my own little thin crust pizza. Like if I make spaghetti and meatballs, something like that. And like the next day, if I have leftovers, I'll take like I have like low carbs tortillas, like the smaller ones, like fajita size, not the big giant burrito monsters. Put one of those in the toaster oven with just like a little thin layer of spaghetti sauce on top. Hack up some of the meatballs, throw them on there, and then some cheese, crushed red pepper, a little extra Italian seasoning, bake it up in the toaster oven. It's a thin crust pizza by yourself, you know? It's like, hey, there we go. Alright, so... status... You know what? Screw it. Let's not bother with trying to level up here. I've been dragging butt this entire stream. Like I said, it's not fun to watch, I can guarantee. I don't think anybody here is having a great time watching me just grind this out because I'm not having fun with it. Alright, so he doesn't have anything on him. It's perfect. So switch out. Let's just keep moving forward. No. Sorry, Toadstool. Pardon me. I see. There's something back there. I think it's like a chest of like 200 coins. I don't need coins. At all. Ever. Rain! The Hammer of Dawn! Well, Ronnie, seeing how it is my cat, she probably would. I mean, she's become a lot tamer, but yeah, back in a couple of years ago, she was like an attack dog. Also, good to see you again. As always. Alright, keep moving forward. I think we're about to hit the boss fight. Now, it was like the episode you're looking at, T-Walls, is it like when she's actually cooking, or is it like later on where she was like pretty much disabled and just be like leaning on a counter, "Oh, you need to take the fish out here," you know, just telling people how to cook instead? Because she couldn't, like, you know, you could tell like she was just getting too old to do those things. Because like then you have Jacques Pepin come in and he was like not that great. He's still riding her coattails to this day, in my opinion. Alright, can I do the Geno Whirl? Well, that's good to hear, Ronnie. Thank you. Ah, I swear I can't get it when I need to. Yeah, I remember like the later episodes before she like quit entirely because her health was getting too bad. I think that's where she started having Jacques on the show. It's like the Julian Jacques something show like that. And she'd just be, or she'd have a guest on, and she'd just basically be leaning on the counter, just like yelling at people how to cook, you know, not like yelling at them, but just she always had that loud way of speaking for the television, like that voice, you know. But the younger ones was like she would, you know, do the cooking herself and was more engaged because she was able to do it. Yeah, Julia Childs was like the nicer Gordon Ramsay, which is really weird. I actually talked about MasterChef last time, but if you ever see like MasterChef Children, like the kids version of it, it's really weird because Gordon Ramsay is really, really nice to people. Even if you watch the British version of like Kitchen Nightmares, he doesn't lose his temper. He might, I mean, I usually try not to swear on the stream here, but he'll be like, okay, I just wanted to tell you here, your food, it's not good. It's real shit. It's just real shit. And it's the problem is the food. We need to fix your shitty food. And it's like, and he's staying calm the entire time. It's like, whoa, what is this? And whereas you get the American version, he's like screaming at the top of his lungs. He's getting people's face, turning red, knocking stuff over. It's like, it's just a different market, apparently. It's like, because in British, you know, in the Britain, like BBC Kitchen Nightmares, he's a lot more cool and subdued and calm and collected. Yeah, exactly, Ronnie, subdued. And it's like, in the American version, he's just like crazy as hell. What I liked about Julia Childs as well is like when she was like, because you know the early black and white days, like the early days of television, is that she would make a mistake and keep it in. She's like, hey, you know, people like, let's cut, let's redo this again. She's like, no. It's like early on, like when her show first started, she's like, people are gonna make mistakes in the kitchen. I make mistakes as well. Keep it in. We're still going. It's like, keep it in there, and she just roll with it. Alright, so what did I get? Safety badge. Is it like the safety dance? Prevents mute and poison attacks. Not really needed, but let's put Fearless Pin on Gino. I forgot to put that back on him. Yeah, so it's like, American version of the show is like, well, okay, listen, Gordon, you gotta be, like, really insane. People gotta stop and think you're gonna go Mike Tyson and bite their ear off. So, that's what we need you to do here. I think I'm right before a boss. Just want to save state just in case. Froggy coins! I honestly forgot how long this stupid ship is. Oh my gosh, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes of this. What always amazes me, though, about, like, you know, these shows like Kitchen Nightmares and things like that is that these people are, like, so far in denial. And it's a reason why 9 out of 10 businesses, especially restaurants, fail in the first year. And I was thinking, like, that statistic can't be right. And then, like, you start watching shows like Kitchen Nightmares, and it's like, I can fully understand that, why that is now, because these people are just like, okay, listen, here's the problem. Here's an easy fix to do it so you don't have this problem anymore, and they fight constantly against doing it. It's like, if my restaurant was failing, and I got, like, a successful restaurateur, like Gordon Ramsay, anybody to come help me, I'd be, like, taking notes. It's like, taking notes, recording them on audio, following everything exactly. It's like, hey, I need you to help save my business because I'm an idiot, help me fix this. You know, and these people are just like, oh, I can't believe it here. Then you have the famous American Baking Company, ABC, which I think they finally closed down out in Phoenix, which became a thing of legend about, like, it was the only one where Ramsay, like, walked away. He's like, you guys, are unsavable. It's like there's I can't help you at all. I just like got up and left, and that was it. That's the entire episode. It was amazing. But I mean, it's like it was just I can't remember exactly what it was behind the whole thing, the whole situation, but I think that Harvey, other than like the lady was just absolutely completely insane. But her husband was also like I think he got arrested for assaulting somebody too, and he was in the country illegally, so he was about to be deported. It's like I'll have to look all this stuff up, but I remember it just became this huge thing when the episode hit. Everyone's like, is this a joke? Like, are they hamming it up? And people had been to that restaurant before, like, no, this is what they are like. You know, they were like stealing their waitresses' tips for themselves and everything. They're like, nope, that tip's not for you. That's for the company. That's for me. You don't get anything. Like, Ramsey went off on him for that. He's like, that is their money. You were stealing their money. That is against the law. You cannot do that. They're like, why? It's our money. It's for the company, and this is, you know, the business I'm running. It's my money. Let's do health. There's a time to have an ego, and that's if you can back it up. And if you're on a show called Kitchen Nightmares, you can't back it up. You have lost. Oops. There we go. I didn't see that one. I've heard that he was on it, and he was just kind of more perturbed about the way the chicken was cooked. Versus, like... You know, versus, like, being, like, hot sauce or anything. But my absolute favorite was Hot Pepper Gaming is what it used to be. It's by one of the guys who did like Game Grumps. You used to be behind the scenes. What was it? Let me pull this up real quick. So if you have not seen this before, this guy apparently is a wrestler. He's also a huge gaming nerd, so I've heard of him before. But yeah, it's like, he did an episode of Hot Pepper Gaming. He's supposed to be talking about Street Fighter V, but he doesn't do it. You know, like, he's like, screw that, I'm gonna talk about other games, you know, like Nights in the Dreams and Mario Kart and everything else. But each game he reviews, he was supposed to talk about Street Fighter V, and he goes reviews different games instead. Each one, he eats a new habanero every single time. And I swear by, like, the third one, he just, like, stops and stares into space. Like, I'm sure he's seeing through time at that point. He's looking into the 8th dimension. At one point he stops, he's like, am I bleeding? He was like obviously distressed, but it's hilarious just because he's still trying to fight through it. Because if you're not used to eating habaneros, that is a kick in the butt. Alright, back to the game. If you're looking for a star, I'll let you see stars. You're out of luck. See whatever falls on the sea becomes Johnny's property. One last thing, read my lips. Wailing you through, but you don't have lips. I'm confused. Wailing through. Got it. Sure, I guess. Think about, like, if I should have Mario or Mallow or Princess in the party for the upcoming fight. Just have a healer. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, ghost peppers are even things that I don't really mess around with too much, because it's like... That is like, habaneros, you have a 20 to 30 second delay, which is really kind of funny, because like my mom had no idea about that. And she actually bought like some Lay's habanero chips, which actually surprised me, because they actually have habanero in them, which is... Usually you see like habanero and it's like cayenne pepper. There's no habanero whatsoever. So she was munching on them. She's like, oh, these aren't bad at all. I don't know why you're talking about like how bad they are. It's just like eating a couple chips there. About 30 seconds passed, then it hit her, and she's like, oh. It's like, yeah, it's a stealth one, but with Ghost Pepper, it's like, it's instant on. It's like touching electric fence. It's there. You know you've done it. It has a smoky flavor, but it is intense. Very, very hot. So I like hot peppers, I like hot foods like that. I can tolerate it, but like there's the two main responses my body does to things like that is like I'll start, like if it's really hot, like if I'm eating like a full habanero by itself or ghost pepper, it's like my body will start sweating like instantly and my face will turn red, but I'm fine. You know, I'm not in pain, distress, like, oh my god, what did I do? My life is a lie! You know, it's nothing like that, but that's just how my body reacts to it. They're like, okay, we've taken something way too hot to cool you down, you know, start sweating like crazy. Sweat like you ran 1/4 of a mile in 50 minutes, which, my new record. Which was funny because, way back in the day, I worked for, let's see. Yeah, so I was at Verizon, I challenged people to do that, the new hires in the classes there. I'm like, who can eat a habanero pepper with me? And it was basically like, it would help me ascertain who had leadership capabilities, who was willing to take chances on stuff, because a lot of people were like, no, not me. But then you'd have some people like, sure, I'll do it. I've never had one before. Are they hot? Yes. Okay, fine. You know, so like, okay, cool, this is a person you can probably rely on to get things done. It usually ended up going up higher, you know, working their way up to the chain type deal, so that's a pretty good assessment. But when I was at school for, you know, college, somebody grew a whole bunch of habaneros and brought them in. It's this big old, like, I'm not sure what you call it, like big giant like bucket, like you see like full of caulking materials or whatever, like those big giant buckets full of habaneros, and like they're free. Everybody just take them. And I forgot to switch out to Princess, so thank you, save states. So one of the guys in the class, like the younger millennials, literally like they're like 19, 20 years old, brought in like a baggie full of them, like about 5 or 6 of them in there. Never had one before. I warned him, like, these are going to be really ridiculously hot. We're like, I'm going to eat one anyway there. I'm like, okay. So he took like one bite of it, and we're talking like a nibble, and started like flipping out, just like freaking, like, oh my god, I'm going to die type deal. It's like, calm down, you're not going to die type deal. He just like, he was in tears. He was literally crying. He could not handle it. The other young millennial guy takes a bite of his. He eats half of it, so already better than the nibble. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, he has got the same reaction, freaking out. So I'm like, you guys are wimps. So I'm like, check this out. So I take the bag that they have there. I look for the wrinkliest one, because if you got a lot more wrinkles in it, like, you know, it's actually like more creases. It's more aged. It's hotter. So I just took the entire thing, put it in my mouth, and just chomped on it there, and just sat there right in front of him eating it. You know, like, we're like, oh my god. Like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I do this all the time. So I'm just sitting there cool as a cucumber, and they're all flipping out. The entire class is like, oh my god. So I got a reputation that day of being the crazy guy, but of course it was really funny because one of the teachers there, Rick was a blast. He was a crazy old guy. He was like, yeah, it was fun of you to watch, but everyone left. I'm still sitting there. He's like, hey Ken, lift up your sunglasses for a second. So I'm like, check how bloodshot my eyes are, because like I had, you know, like it was like super hot, and like they were getting red. He's like, it was hilarious to see, man. Your eyes were getting red. You were sweating all over the place, but you were just sitting there cool as a cucumber, like you didn't care. It was like, yeah, crazy stuff. All right, switch out Gino for Toadstool. Equip. Fearless. Okay, and save state. Where's the intruder? Oh no! Like, here, this is on us. I love this. It just wipes everybody else out. How dare you dodge the barrel? How dare you not stand there and let me beat you up? Special What does Toadstool have? Heal, HP and status. Group hug heals everybody. Sleepy time. Yeah, so she's gonna be a healer. How close is she to leveling up, though? Status... far off, okay. She's like Marl in this game if you play Chrono Trigger. She's like the healer and reviver. Okay, luck's run out. Okay, kindly to strangers here. The ship's only big enough for 2 of us type deal, blah blah blah. Yeah. And the old slap. So after that whole thing about, like, you know, the classmates freaking out, which is funny, of course. I mentioned to, like, you know, to the 2 or 3 people there, including the teacher Rick, who stayed behind to talk to me about it, just laughing about everybody. I was like, did anyone warn him, warn them what's going to happen when they go to the bathroom later? He's like, nope. I'm like, okay, this will be fun. We're going to ask him about it tomorrow. So the next day, I'm like, so, how's your poop? They're like, oh my god, it burned so bad, it was worse than Taco Bell. Like, how do you deal with it? It's like, it doesn't bother me anymore. You build up an immunity to it. 30 experience points, good lord. I swear the Mallard just leveled up. Great tough mate, alright. I'll let you through to Johnny's place. Such great henchmen. Well, he beat one of us up, so we let him through without a contest, you know. It's just how we are. Sorry, you hired us cheap. So you're the Mario, eh? Not much to look at. Well, the star fell into my sea, so it's mine. Mine. If you want it, you'll have to fight me for it. Okay. Seeing how I've murdered everybody else to get here, why not? Now, I remember for this fight, you don't want to kill all of his little minions, like these smaller guys attacking me right now, because he'll summon more. So you kill 3 and just leave the rest of them alone. You know, leave the other one alone, just keep focusing on the Johnny. So you're weaker, so let's do... do this here, give him the super flame. The ultra jump will hit everybody, so I don't want to do that right now. That did almost nothing, alright. You know what? Geno's gonna be better for this. That's why I love emulators. Alright, so much for Princess. You're out of here. Be gone! These guys do almost like no damage. I may live to regret these words, but I'll deny it when we get there. I will blame T. Wallace. It's like, yeah, let's just speed that up. Now I was looking for, here we go, boost. Now, I didn't look it up, but I think, I said this earlier, like, that I think that the boosts stack up so you can do it more than one time on them and get even more better results. Johnny... Gets off. Let's give it a whirl. I'm sure I won't hit it. Nope. You mean the worst kind of Mario game, Fico? That would be Mario is Missing in like an educational game or the CDI Nintendo games. That would be worst. This is a great game. Also, what's up? It's one of the things like I wish that there was like a better CDI emulator, because that'd be fun. Play those games, but like CDI is notoriously hard to emulate. There is an emulator out there that supposedly does a really good job, but the jerk put it behind a paywall, so you have to pay for it. It's like, screw you. But there's a couple different convoluted ways to get some emulation going. It's not really worth it. You know, just me, just the same old, sitting around. Back's killing me. Grinding through this game slowly but surely. Alright, so let's start working on the minions. Well, the thing with the CDI, it's just like, such a screwed up thing the entire way, all the way around, really. For like, okay, like, so certain models, because they farmed it out to everybody, so pretty much anybody can make a CDI console just about. So some of them, pardon me, some models would come with like controllers that were really weird, and some games would require certain controllers in order to play, so they didn't even have standards set up across the board. So imagine buying a Switch game and not being able to play it because you have to buy a hoary, like, $10 controller or whatever, a hoary version of the controller instead of what came with it. It's like all that nonsense because, like, they didn't standardize it. You know, it was things like that. It was just really bizarre choices. And then you had some games that had, like, they needed the VCD, like, card for it in order to play higher quality MPEG video. Like Thunder in Paradise, which was like a Hulk Hogan TV show that was very short-lived. I never even heard of it until Wrestles with Gaming started showing it off on his stream. And you have to have like a special like MPEG decoder card on there, because if you don't have it, then you can't even play the game at all. It's all sorts of craziness. It was just too much of a problem to deal with, too much of a headache. On top of the ridiculously absurd price that they wanted for it. It was like, the early 90s were really weird for consoles because you had some ridiculously overpriced stuff. One of it was actually worth it, in my opinion. You had the Neo Geo, then you had the 3DO, and you had the CDI. And... let's see, boost. So you had the Neo Geo, which of course they didn't really, they knew that their home version wasn't going to be popular at all, really, because it's just too expensive. Launched at like $600 and $700, I want to say, for the two different versions. You had like one that was like a gold, like one controller, the other one had two. And then they had Then you had a 3DO, which launched at $700. It was like the PlayStation 3 of its day. It was super advanced. It did surround sound, CDs, full motion video. It's actually a pretty decent system for the time period. Just cost way too much because it was too ahead of its time and too difficult to manage. Then you had the CDI, which was like, they didn't know what in the world they wanted it to be. They didn't know if they wanted it to be a gaming system or a VCD player or a entertainment, like educational toy or tool. They were all over the place. They were so incredibly unfocused. So it's like, it's still debatable what exactly it was. Alright, so he's giving me the star as a souvenir of our fight. Yeah. So if you were to do that today, let's see, what is it? 3DO launch. Oh, it's just 3DO. Just do that, it'll tell me what day it launched. North America, 1993. Okay, let's see. Inflation converter for USD. Here we go. So, in 1993, United States dollars, 3DO cost $700. Now that'd be basically paying for a system, buying it for $1,240.58. So the PlayStation 3, when that came out, $600 was a lot of money. It still is a lot of money for a console. But imagine like PlayStation 5 or Project Scarlet, whatever name we decide to call for it there, the Xbox 2, just to screw people up. It's going on sale this Christmas for $1,250. Can you imagine that? It's like, no one would go for that. And which, of course, is what happened to the 3DO and everything else. It's like, people are like, that's way too expensive. It's like, I have a Gold Star 3DO complete in box. I bought it off eBay around year 2000. And I paid $50 for it, along with about 20 games. All part of a deal. I mean, the first guy sent me like a broken, crappy system. I was like, no, you sent me what I bought. No, that's a different one here. I'm getting my streams crossed. So yeah, when I originally bought 3DO, it was like $50. Guy sent me a bunk unit, and I got a real fixed unit later from him, the same guy, and all the games and stuff. But around, yeah, so it was like 2007. No, I just moved here. About 2009, 2010, I bought myself a Gold Star 3DO, complete in box, off of eBay. With shipping included, it was like $40. $40, $50 around there, okay? The price tag is still on this thing, and it was $300 whenever somebody bought it originally. Ironically now, 3DOs are going up in price. It's bizarre. It's like the thing you couldn't get rid of, it was overpriced, then you couldn't get rid of it for like dirt cheap money, is now becoming expensive again. Must really wanted that star. Get out of here before I change my mind. I sit in your chair. Yeah, it was insanity, literally. And Sega 32X is like that too. It's like the angry video game nerd famously destroyed his 32X, one of them he had at the time. You know, and like at the end of one of his videos, talking about 12 years ago or so, he got it for like $1.75, $2 at a flea market. I got mine for free from my landlord who didn't want it. He's like, hey, I got like 3 games and a 32X, and you play video games. You want this? Yes. There was a time you couldn't get rid of those things, and now like 32Xs are going for a crazy amount of money on eBay again. It's like, because the retro market is so incredibly, it's not based on actual value most of the time. It's basically what people think. Like, so nostalgia is a major problem with the market. They're like, I remember this. This was really expensive. It's like, no, it's not. So now you look up the 32X on eBay, you're looking around $80 to $100 on average. You might find one cheaper, the occasional one, but they're getting ridiculously overpriced. And there's no reason for it. It's like I've said before, like with Earthbound, They literally had so many copies of that game. It wasn't a limited production run game. They made a lot of copies. Nintendo's like, we're gonna sell this. This is gonna be a great RPG. Everyone's gonna buy it up, and nobody bought it. No one gave a shit. They're like, nope. And I remember seeing, and as well as things I wish I'd bought it now, there was the special edition Earthbound with the strategy guide in it, the enlarged box. Game stores were selling it for like 15-20 bucks, and people didn't want them. They have like huge stacks of it. People did not care. And then a couple of years ago, about within the last 10 years, someone or everyone in the retro community decided that Earthbound was an amazing RPG, which it's not. It's a mediocre one at best. It's not the best one. It's not the worst one I've ever played. But everyone suddenly decided that this game was amazing, and it's incredibly rare, and it's not. And it still sells for over $200 just by the individual cart. It makes no sense. Let's see. Type in eBay wrong one time in your URL bar. And it's like, oh, you want to go to this one, right? No. Earthbound SNES. $220. $200. The large box and guide, the one I was just mentioning, $1,000, $935. This guy wants $1,500 for it. $1,050, $925. Yeah, so single carts of the game are still going over $200. That large box one is selling for over $1,000 on eBay. And like I said, it's not rare. So basically, this guy's like a member of Smithy's gang. He's in disguise. That's the whole story. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it's like, it was a high quality. Now, if you have certain games that were rare, they didn't make as many of them. They're not rare, but like Mega Man X3. Mega Man X2 and 3, they didn't make a whole lot of them. Especially 3, because that was towards the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle. So that game sells for over $200 now. One of the things I've kicked about myself, and it's been a joke with my friend Patrick for many years, is that I sold him my copies of Mega Man X2 and 3 because I was done with them, could beat them in my sleep, didn't care. I'm like, dude, I'll sell them to you for 20 bucks each. It's like, sure. And now they're worth over 200, you know, for just X3. I'm like, oh my god. But that's a legitimate one, like Final Fight 3. That's also another limited amount. Like, they didn't make a whole lot of those copies, so those are rarer. Those do come with the price for it. But then you have, like, it's like Metal Jesus Rocks when he starts talking about his hidden gems for games that were like everybody knows about and they're dirt cheap. He's like, oh, this is rare. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, nothing. They'd sell you Mario All-Stars for $500 and tell you it's rare and limited. Or my rip-off store we have in town that thinks that, still to this day, that Final Fantasy VII, the greatest hits reprint for PlayStation 1 used is over $100. And you can go on eBay and buy it for 10 bucks. Oh yeah, so if you... This guy basically wants you to hand over the star. He's part of Smithy's gang in disguise. He's gonna go beat up an elder, torture him. Every single time you say, you know, never, I'll never go over the star, that just happens. Nothing bad happens, really, so you just gotta get over the star. There you go. You can have it. But yeah, so like, let's say, actual games that are rare, sure. But reprints, like, other things like that, no. Like, the other day, it was, I was watching Lord BBH, and he was doing his main roulette. He was playing Psychic Force. I think it's Psychic Force. Let me take a look. Let's see, where is it? Yeah. Psychic Force. He was playing the arcade version of it, which it was originally an arcade version, and it was also ported to PlayStation, because it was same hardware, just the arcade, like System 22, had well, PlayStation with more RAM. And I was thinking, wait a minute, I actually own that game for PlayStation. I was like, I bought it like 1997 for like 10 bucks. I wonder how much it goes for now. And it was like over $100. I was like, okay, it's like, that's, I guess it's a rare game. Pardon me, it didn't sell well. Another limited number production, so it was another little surprise. I'm like, oh, I have this game, and it turns out to be over $100. Neat. Let's see. Where is my save point? I think it's over here. Here it is. And speaking of prices going up for stuff, so I mentioned the Neo Geo earlier. I own, as I love to tell everybody, because I'm like a vegan, you know, like vegans, and like, hey, I'm a vegan. It's like, that's neat, I didn't ask you. It's like the same way I tell people I own a Neo Geo MVS 2-slot machine. It's the arcade with the big red arcade unit. And the reason I got into that because I got a really great deal on it off of Craigslist. And it was worth it, and I love it. And the other thing too is that the MVS arcade games, there was a lot more of those made versus the AES home versions, okay? Home versions of the Neo Geo games back in the day sold for $200 to $300 each. Now, the home versions of these games, some of them are still cheap, but they're still ridiculously expensive. Like, the home version of any Neo Geo game is usually going to run you around that price, $300 or higher, depending on which one it is. The arcade versions, they made a lot more copies of those. So, like, for the first 2 or 3 years I had my Neo Geo, it was great. I could buy games up left and right like crazy, and they were cheap. I mean, I remember I bought Art of Fighting complete in box, which is pretty rare for an arcade version of the Neo Geo, the MVS systems, to have their boxes still, because a lot of arcade operators would take the crap out, just like take the box and the stuff with that and just chuck it and just put the game in the machine and go about their way of making money. I bought that entirely, like Art of Fighting 1, complete in box for $10 with shipping. And it's like, now you can't do that anymore. Everything is going up across the board. There are some legitimate rare games for, like, as I've been mentioning others, wise, like, you know, like for other systems. Like, I have the MVS copy of Ninja Masters, which seems to now be getting ported to everything, like the, like that was that Neo Geo X home machine they had, the handheld one that was really crappy. It was like Hack Games did it, I can swear. The new Neo Geo Mini that they had, the little mini console, had it ported to that. It's like that one for MVS now sells for like, I think 200 plus. I bought it for about $80. So it's like, even the arcade versions now, games that should be dirt cheap are going up ridiculously high price. Ninja Masters, not only Ninja Masters, but Ninja Combat. Terrible game. I streamed it probably about a year ago. God awful. I swear every single Neo Geo machine I ever saw in the wild, back even the arcade heydays, had this in there. And it was like a $10, $15, $20 game, and now it's going for high prices too. It's like the inflation's hit for arcade, which makes no reason. It's just things like that just really tick me off. Let's see. Ninja Combat MVS. Yeah, so now it's going for like $120. And it literally, like about 5-6 years ago, was a $20 game. It was like $15 to $20. That was it. And for some reason, everyone's decided, like, hey, this is going through. So my theories behind it are that it might actually, the arcade games might be becoming rarer again, because you have to be an arcade like owner like myself, like actually own the unit, the big machine to play it. But there's also been a rise in consoleization. Like, you're starting to see like home versions that will play MVS that people are making, like the machines for like $200. So I'm wondering if people are buying those machines and then going, hey, this plays MVS, I don't need the expensive AES versions, and starting to buy those up. But, you know, it's just crazy, like, to think, like, I got into MVS collecting because there was the high initial price, but the rest of the games were cheap, like $20-$30. And now it's like I can't collect for it anymore because everything's over $100 easily. It's like, I think the most expensive game I have for my MVS is either Art of Fighting 3 or Ninja Masters. Let's see, Art of Fighting 3 MVS, if anyone's selling it. Let's see. And you also have to look out for bootlegs too. There's a lot of bootleg Neo Geo games, unfortunately. Seems to be selling an average for around 180. So that's Art of Fighting 3. Let's take a look at Ninja Masters. that's going for 250 to 300 bucks. So Ninja Masters is the most expensive Neo Geo game I own. Alright, so they're waiting for his gang to help basically rescue them, and they're cornered. Story, plot, no one cares. Star is a gift to my friend Mario. He smiles, dogs have no code of honor. They can walk the plank. Maybe you should leave the pleasure of wrapping things up here to Mario. Yeah, thank you. Let me beat the heck out of him. Guess we'll have to take our disguises off now. Group formation! Super Sentai, go! Okay, so let's see. Yeah, this is one I think you really want to have Mallow on, but oh well. I really don't like Mallow, so that's why I keep like going, is this the fight they have him on? Whoa, that was a lot of damage. Okay. So I really love and hate the Geno world at the same time. You nail it, wipes everybody out. If you miss that timing, it's crap attack. You know what? I do need Mallow. So I'm going to speed through the whole conversation there. But basically, I just remember this guy splits in two. One of them's real, one of them's not. Mallow has the ability to find out which one is real. Princess would probably be good too. So remember, this is like the really weird one because it's like I have to put everybody in that I usually don't use. So she should have... Yeah, she's got group hug. Heals everybody. It's like 3, I think I saw right there. Yeah, 4. That's pretty good. Mallow, he's got... Yeah, Psychopath is so weird because it's not really anything crazy. It's like, he's not like going on bath salts and eating somebody's skin. He's just like, oh, here's how much HP you have. Snowman fells foes. Okay. Yeah, they need. I want to have like any RPG that includes the move bath salts. I will buy day 1. I'd also go broke buying copies for all my friends. Like, dude, you got to play this game. Bath salts, the game. All right, speed this up. There we go. Okay. Therapy. And what that was for, Bowser touched me in an inappropriate place. My crown. It's like, we need to talk about, you're deflecting, we need to talk about your real problem about why you get kidnapped every other day. And I don't know the timing for that attack. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy to do. Oh, jeez, that's gonna be a problem. Alright, before I do too much damage, keep screwing up here. SMRPG. Shocker timing. Okay, so this one's weird. You need to press before it hits. The attack will be stronger if the player presses Y right before the lightning strikes the enemy. Okay, so I'm guessing before it hits? We'll see. Hug. Okay, so basically I'm gonna have Peach heal everybody. Mario's gonna have to do the honey syrup to get magic power back. Yeah, that was pathetic. Alright, Fico, have yourself a good night, because it is ridiculously early where you are. Get some rest. See you next time, maybe. Yeah, so this is where Psychopath comes in. Try to figure out which one's real. Okay. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, he's a real deal, okay. Should probably just do super jump. I'm gonna see a video on how to do that. Yeah, I just don't know what the timing is for it. Okay, we're still good for health. I have no idea what that was, but thankfully I missed. Alright. Okay, and yeah, we're still good on. Don't have to worry about that. It's ironic, because like, as soon as he splits up, it's like he doesn't do as powerful attacks, it seems like. Not that I'm complaining, I'm just like, oh, that's kind of interesting to see. Okay, let's see. Hate me up, need to do more. I don't know, maybe I'm doing it right, because it seems like if I don't get it, it was like 100. That was like 132. I don't know, I'll have to look it up later. Right now we're gonna hug it out in therapy. Alright, cool. He's digging. He's dead. Crusher. So with these now in the race for the star pieces, what horrible surprises might he have in store for Mario? Got the shed key to Mario. Knowing you, must have been a breeze knocking down Yarid, eh? By the way, my parents say they saw a huge axe flying across the sky. It's probably one of Smithy's nasty friends. Go get him, pal. Gills are failing on me, so I'll be heading back down. Drop in whenever you have the time, okay? Your true mate, Johnny Jones. It's funny because, like, they call them the Axum Rangers. They're basically the Super Sentai, which is what like they based Power Rangers off of here in the States, which is a lot of fun to see. Alright, and with that, we have reached the end of the stream for today, so definitely want to thank everybody for hanging out and listening to me rant about video game prices, rarity, collecting, all sorts of crazy stuff. So, of course, shout outs to Fico and Ronnie, T. Wallace, the Borg, anybody else lurking in chat. You guys are always awesome too. So let's see here. So as I mentioned here, usually every single stream I will mention this, that I do stream at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not sure when that is, just basically copy and paste exactly what I have put into chat, into Google, and it will tell you for whatever time that is where you are in the world. You can also check me out on Twitter at Wursel555 if you're not following me here but feel like coming back later. That'd be cool too. I always post up around usually 2 to 3 hours in advance if I'm going to be streaming, or if I need to cancel for whatever reason, be it health, back problems, or something else comes up. Just so that way you're in the loop. So if I disappear, you know what's happening. So let's see. Today is Sunday. So I might stream tomorrow. Tuesday was probably going to be a no-go because I have a late MRI appointment like at 6 o'clock at night, which is weird. The way they got to do everything for me, it probably won't be out until like 8:30 or so. It's really crazy. So I might stream again tomorrow. Not sure if I'll be playing this again, like continuing on, or I might give Mario RPG a little break. Play another game for a day or two. We'll have to see what happens. I might play something different. I might be inspired by the awesome Wrestles with Gaming because he did Oregon Trail. That was a lot of fun. I might copy that idea, steal it, because it's one of the things I wanted to do myself, but just basically see how fast I can murder everybody in my group. And by the way, if you're not checking out Wrestling with Gaming on YouTube, definitely do that. He has done some really amazing videos across the board about X-Band, Sega, like all the different systems they had out at once, like the 32X, the Saturn, the Genesis, the Nomad, the Pico, all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, he does amazing content. Definitely give him a follow or check out his videos on YouTube. Is there anybody streaming right now at the moment here that would be good to hand over to? And looks like probably not. So, oh well, no biggie. So thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm not sure I'll be playing, depending on how my health is holding up. I might do some fighting games for Super Nintendo or arcade. Well, I'll figure it out. But hopefully see you guys next time.